Thank you. ¿Dónde están?
I may need to be reminded once more.
Oh, you look so cute.
Thank you, you do.
Should I bring the camera with us?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Chile vlog. This is a long time coming, but this is the beginning of my trip that I took in March. We started by going to this Baha'i temple and it was beautiful. I think this actually was the first day we got to Chile. I am recording this in August when we took this trip in March, but I think this was the first day we got there and we got to walk around these beautiful grounds. As you can see, it was pretty high elevation. We could see mountains around us and everything. And that was just really fun. Here's me in the bathroom when we got back to the friend's apartment. We stayed with boyfriend's friend, Nico, who was from Chile, and his wife and son. And we were just able to explore for about 5 days. So I think this is the same day we took these gondolas that took us very high up. And Vicky was terrified, which looking at this view, if you're, afraid of heights, I guess it makes sense that you would be terrified being on these tiny little gondolas on tiny little ropes. But we took it up pretty high to come to this area that was, I don't know if I would call it a temple, but it definitely was a place of worship with the giant statue, and you could go in and there were beautiful murals on the inside, as you can see, and a statue, I think that is of Mary. And, people come here to light candles, to pray. It is a place where you were supposed to be quiet and they have some music playing on the outside. And it was just really nice to visit. I mean, I love art. So being here and being able to look at the paintings that they had around and look at the landscape around and also just be in a place that was just kind of like quiet and you get to reflect. It was really cool. So we also were able to just kind of hike a little, which was crazy because Vicky at this point I think was 8 months pregnant, and we were hiking up this huge hill and it was like maybe 80 degrees. It was like 70 or 80, so it was pretty hot. We hiked a little so that we could get to this Japanese garden, which was beautiful. It was smaller than literally any other Japanese garden I've been to, except for maybe the one in Jackson Park in Chicago, but it was still really pretty. You can see me here talking about turtles, and there were also, I think, koi fish, but turtles are my favorite, so pointing out the turtles. But it was a very beautiful area, still pretty high elevation in the city, so there was a pretty good skyline that you could see looking around. There weren't that many people there. It was mostly just us, so it was nice to walk around that. And then we got to explore the city a little more, and this is a art museum maybe that we went to, and they had just a bunch of different things about architecture and about art in there, about like different parts of the city. This one was about, I think, a temple / church that was around. And then there was a section here that had a bunch of different prints, and there's a lot of like, traditional looking art and traditional Chilean artists around in this exhibit, which was really cool to look at. This is outside the exhibit where you can see we're kind of downtown and there are beautiful buildings. I love the architecture. We were trying to get pictures and videos in front of the flag, but the wind wasn't really cooperating that much. And then here's a video showing where we were when we took the gondola. That's how high we were. This is a vegan food place that we went to. It was delicious, vegan bunker. I got a sandwich and Joshua got lomo saltado, which is actually Peruvian food. And the vegan food that we got there was like one of the only good foods we had because, sorry Chile, they don't know how to make good food. But next we went to a winery because everybody that I told I was going to Chile, everybody was like, you have to try the wine, you have to try the wine. So Joshua and I ourselves went to a winery and took a tour. And it was beautiful. Apparently they modeled the grounds after Giverny for where Monet had his garden, and I knew that immediately as soon as I got there and looked at it. I was like, oh my god, this looks like a Monet painting. And then our tour guide told us that it was modeled after, you know, his grounds, so that was really cool. But we were able to get a little bit of a tour around the grounds, just like walking from one place to the next, and then we were given a good amount of wines to try. And our tour guide was also super nice. He was so fun and so personable, and he had like a little sass to him, which was great. And I love wine in general, but having a great tour guide made the wine experience a lot better. Joshua drank the wine. Here's a little clip of our tour guide talking because he was so funny.
That's
Absolutely,
fine.
thank you.
The picture, it's a video or a picture?
A video.
Oh, video, okay. Read it. This is to all, everyone who is seeing the camera right now. The broadcasting system is fine today. The BBC.
Oh no, not the
Number
BBC.
2.
Low-key, when he did that, I was like a little bit embarrassed because I was like, oh my god, I don't want people to know I'm sitting here like taking videos, but that was okay. But here we took a little more tours around the grounds, looking at like where they have the vineyard, where they're growing the grapes, and then we went down into the cellar to see where they keep all of the wine in the barrels. And then there was also like a presentation where it gave us a little bit of history of the winery and a little bit of the lore, where they thought that, you know, one brother like killed their other or something like that, and it was like a little presentation, which was really cool. And then we also went up to a different part where they have this little like Diablo devil shadow. It's just all part of the lore. It's just really cool. And then after that, we continued to try more wine, which is great. And they give us little cheeses pairings to try, and I didn't get to do that, obviously, being the vegan that I am. But Joshua got to do every pairing, and he told me that, you know, it really does matter what cheese you drink with what wine, and it really does change the flavor. Me, I just was eating crackers with the wines, and I liked the wine anyway, so it didn't really matter. So yeah, afterwards, we just walked around a little and went back to the apartment, and this is their dog. Such a cute little dog. I loved playing with him the whole time, but he was very high energy. So yeah, we continued to go shopping in this little like mall area. They had a little trampoline thing in the middle, which is really cool. Their kid played in it for a little while, and like low-key, I wanted to go in there. And then afterwards, we went to this outdoor free zoo. And what was weird about the zoo to me is that they allowed dogs. So there were a bunch of dogs running around, and I'm like, isn't this stressful for the animals? Because in Chicago, at least, they don't allow you to bring dogs into Lincoln Park Zoo, even though it is like a free open air zoo, you know? They don't allow you to bring dogs in because they're like, oh, this is so stressful for the animals. So being in Chile and having like all of the dogs, including like stray dogs running around, I'm like, oh my god, the lion's gonna get stressed or whatever. But it was cool because it was like a zoo, but also, as you can see, all of this area where there's an open field where Joshua and the boys played soccer, and there was also like the pond and everything, so that was really cool. And then after, we went to a different part of Chile that happened to be freezing, and Joshua and I took a boat tour. And it was nice because they told us about the city, and we also got to see a bunch of like the battleships and like Navy ships that they have, which were not just there for fun. They were there fully stocked with men running around with their big giant guns, because these are like actual warships. And as foreigners, Joshua and I were not allowed to get on those ships to take a tour because they wanted to make sure that like spies didn't come in. So you can only go on the boats to take tours if you are a Chilean citizen. But Joshua got to drive a boat, and that was really cool. And here's a statue. So in this part of Chile, we got to go to this area that is just beautiful and full of murals. There you can see it's kind of like high elevation to get there, so we're kind of taking this like little trolley up to get there, but it's just everywhere you walk, the walls are just full of murals, and it's really cool. And I took a couple of videos, as in only this one, I think, but it was still really cool. I just got mad because some girl talked to me and made me mad, so I stopped taking videos, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So it's in my brain. But you get to see a little just what it's like, and imagine it times 20. I'll put the names of everything on the video because right now I just don't remember anything, but still, it was very beautiful to walk around. And it was Joshua and I and his friend Nico walked around only because the kid and the pregnant wife was not going to be going on all those stairs with us. So then you just saw another vegan place we went to eat. And then the last day we went to the beach with the family where they did a maternity shoot, and also it was like extended family were there as well, and they were all taking pictures together, and then Joshua and I were all just kind of hanging out, and that was the last thing we did on our trip. And here is Joshua in the lounge in the airport, obviously looking dead because it was a long couple of days. So thanks for watching. Bye.